What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Game week 27 drawing to a close this evening, recording before the final Burnley-Leicester game. Let's hope for a Burnley clean sheet and a Weghorst goal. A lot of us are looking at playing our wildcard in game week 28. I am undecided yet, but what I'm going to do is talk about what wildcard team I would use if I was going to play my wildcard going into game week 28. I do think it's a very usable and doable strategy. It allows you to plan for the upcoming game weeks in game week 28. It's a double game week 29 as a double, and plan for game week 30 as well, which is a blank game week, and not have to use your free hit there as well. We'll have a look at what transfers I would also plan over the next couple of weeks for this wildcard team in order to not have to play your free hit in that game week 30 as well. So without further ado, if you are enjoying these videos, please do like and subscribe to the channel, but let's get into the wildcard. In goal, we start with Jose Sarr. Now 5.3 million, Wolves didn't look that great in the past couple of games, but I still back them as one of the best defensive teams that you can get on a budget as well. They have a great double game week in game week 26 against Crystal Palace and Watford, definitely one that I would look to target. Sarr is good for bonus as well as save points because of the amount of goals that Wolves score. They don't score loads, so the bonus often goes to the defenders, and with the saves that Sarr makes, he's often involved. Next to him, we put the Newcastle goalkeeper in Dubravka, a cheap option at 4.4, but Newcastle definitely look much better in the recent game week since their takeover, since January new signings, compared to how they did earlier in the season. Dubravka at 4.4 is a good option. They have two doubles in the next two game weeks. Of course, you would play Sarr in game week 28, and we'll have a look at that lineup, but Dubravka is definitely a good backup for the remainder of the season. Next up, we've got Trent in the defense. Yes, of course he's going to be in there. I don't need to talk too much about that. They have a double in game week 29. Yes, they blank in game week 30, but you're going to want Trent in your team no matter what. Next up, we've got Kilman. So we've doubled up on Wolves' defence because I really like what they can offer going into the double in game week 28. And then the fixture that they have at home to Leeds in game week 30 is definitely a good fixture that we can be buying into. Kilman is very cheap and also good for bonus. He's the tallest of the Wolves defenders as well, so a bit of aerial threat potentially from him there. Next up, we add Rudiger of Chelsea. So it sounds like Chelsea are going to get a double game week in game week 28 of Burnley and then Norwich being added. As long as one of Chelsea or Norwich progress to the next round of the FA Cup, Norwich play against Liverpool and Chelsea play against Luton Town. If both teams do get knocked out, there will be no double game week, but I still think having a Chelsea option in your team is a good option going forward. And Rudiger is the most nailed. You could go Reece James, but having come back from injury recently, I just doubt he plays so many games in quick succession. Next to Rudiger, we put Kieran Tierney, so an Arsenal player. Again, a team that we've been targeting in recent weeks. Tierney's looked good playing at sort of left back, getting forward up that left-hand side. They have a double in game week 29 and then playing game week 30 as well. And to combine with him, we've got with Ben White. I did have Gabriel in here, but to save a little bit of money, and given that White would probably sit on your bench most weeks, I didn't think it was really that essential. So we have gone with White in here again. Double Arsenal at the back. Again, looking at game week 29, looking at game week 30, and with a cheap option in White, it's definitely one that I think is good to sort of strengthen depth in your wildcard. So that is the defense and the goalkeepers. Again, a really strong 15 this team will put together, so you can target those doubles whilst having a strong bench, and you can bench players when they have a bad fixture, bring them in when they have a double game week, and so on and so forth. Into the midfield now. The first one we put, of course, goes in the same vein as Trent. We don't really need to talk about Salah very much. 13.1 million is a lot to spend, but it's Salah. We saw what he did in the double in game week 26. If you still have your triple captain, I think triple captaining him in game week 29, his next double, although it's more difficult against Arsenal and Brighton, he's able to score in any of these games. Next to him, we add Saka to complete our triple Arsenal. Again, looking at game week 30, but also the teams that have a double game week between now and then. They have a good fixture this week against Watford, although we'll see if we actually want to start any of our Arsenal players this week. They then have a double in game week 29 of Leicester and Liverpool both at home, and then that Aston Villa game in game week 30. After that, if you want to look at selling some of them, but over the next 3 weeks, I think there are some great assets to own. Next in the midfield, we've gone with Coutinho. So again, a nice double this week of Southampton and Leeds for Aston Villa. One of the best double game weeks in there. He's a good option. You could go down to Ramsey if you don't have the money to spend. So if you are stretching to try and afford this squad, I think Coutinho down to Ramsey is very affordable. But I do like Coutinho. I think he's got a bigger goal threat from open play. An extra point for a clean sheet as well, because we don't have an Aston Villa defender in here. Coutinho, the only option we've gone with. I do like him at his price as well in there as my third midfielder. Next to him, we've gone with Willock. So there's going to be a Newcastle player in most wildcard drafts because they double in both game weeks 28 and game week 29. Willock is the one that I've gone with again. They're keeping a few clean sheets, so the extra point that he gets for his goals and for the clean sheet bonus is definitely one that I've gone with here over going for the likes of Wood or St. Maximin up front. 5.7 is a really nice price. You can sell him after the doubles if you want as well, or he can sit on your bench going forward. I like him. He's returning to a bit of the form we saw at the end of last season as well. And finally, in the midfield, we've gone with Rafinha. Although I'm a bit skeptical to see what we're going to get from Leeds going into the upcoming game weeks under new management, if they'll be as free-flowing going forward, as if they'll score as many goals, how will Rafinha be involved, everything like that. I do think at 6.5, he's still a really nice option. They doubled this week and then have that fixture in game week 30 as well. Yes, I think there's a chance that they don't look as good going forward as they did under Bielsa, but he's still a great budget option. Now the exciting part, we move into the forward line, and the first one we have is Brozier. Again, a bit like White, it's good to have some of these cheap options. Southampton have a great double game week in game week 28, and then they do play potentially in game week 30 if they do lose to West Ham in the Cup. If they don't lose to West Ham in the Cup, and that game against Burnley in game week 30 does get cancelled, I still think Brozier is a good option, so don't worry too much about that. 5.5 million is a good price for him. One of the best sort of enablers that we can get at the moment, but given their double game week and given that they could play in game week 30 as well. He was a bit of a disappointment in game week 27 for anyone who brought him in on his free hit. And a lot of you may be looking at Che Adams, but I do think Brozier is worth it going and saving a little bit of money given the way he has been scoring goals in recent weeks and the way Southampton are performing as well. Next to him, we have gone with Jimenez. Now, he is an option that you could change out. The reason I've gone with him as my third Wolves player, 7.5 million is quite a lot, but none of the other forwards are really going. I could have gone Watkins here, but I think there's enough doubt over his starting minutes as there is for Jimenez. Yes, Wolves don't score a lot of goals, but Crystal Palace at home and Watford at home in game week 28, followed by Leeds at home in game week 30, it just screams that there have to be a few goals in these games for Wolves, and Jimenez is so often likely to be involved in these matches. I'm expecting him to come back into the Wolves lineup after being dropped in game week 27. He's in there. You could rotate him, but I just think over the next 3 game weeks, there are some great fixtures that Wolves can look to target. And finally, there had to be, of course, a Spurs asset in here somewhere, and I've gone with Harry Kane over Son just because of the team structure that it allows me. He's looked so good in recent weeks. We are seeing Harry Kane back to his best. They have a double in game week 29 as well, and then a good run of fixtures from game week 31, which starts with Newcastle at home. So this is my wildcard team that I would go with. But now let's have a look at how I would line up in game week 28, how I would line up with game week 29 and game week 30, and any potential transfers that I would make along the way. So this is the team that we will have for game week 28. It would line as a 3-4-3. You only have 3 single game week players in here, being Trent and Salah, who everyone owns, and Kane, given the form he's in. Sarr with a double, Kilman with a double, Rudiger with a provisional double, of course, it hasn't been announced. You've then got Coutinho, Willock, Rafinha, Brozier, Jimenez with Kane, Salah, and Trent in there. So a very good team. You would be benching triple Arsenal, and the thing with playing a wildcard this week is you would have to appreciate that you are going to have bench points going into the next few weeks because of how strong the squads are in depth, with Dubravka having a double game week as well. But I do think it is worth it going forward. A really strong squad for game week 28 with 8 double game week players. Next up, we have our team for game week 29, where you would have to use no transfers. You would roll your transfer, which is really important for this team. Now, again, we go into this with 3 single game week players of Rudiger at home to Newcastle, Rafinha at home to Norwich, and Brozier at home to Watford. Again, 3 great fixtures for single game weekers. However, off our bench come our triple Arsenal, so Tierney in, White in, and Saka in, to combine with Dubravka for his double, Trent, Salah, Willock, and Harry Kane. So again, 8 double game week players. On your bench, you would have Jimenez, Coutinho, and Kilman with Sarr in goal. Again, a very strong team going into game week 29, and importantly, as I said, it allows you to roll your transfer. Now, going into game week 30, I would expect you to make 1 transfer, and you need to check if you're going to use this draft that you have enough money to do this. However, Willock to Maddison or potentially Willock to Lookman are the potential transfers that I would do. However, again, you would only be using 1 of your 2 free transfers, which mean you would go into game week 31 with 2 free transfers available. And that would mean that you'd line up with game week 30 looking like this. You'd have 10 players out in total, so you would have to play a man down. Sarr, Tierney, Kilman, White, Saka, Coutinho, Maddison, Rafinha, Brozier, Jimenez with Kane as the blank game week player. You've put out a full 10. You have 8 double game week players in game week 29. You have 8 double game week players in game week 28. And you have 2 free transfers going into game week 31, where you can start planning ahead for the future double game weeks. You can sell some of the players that you've needed for this game week. So you can take out Jimenez. You can take out one of the Arsenal defenders as well, both for free. Start doubling up on Chelsea, looking more at Leicester for their potential double game weeks as well. So I hope you have found this video useful. This is the wildcard team that I would go with if I was looking to play a wildcard in game week 28. I hope you found it useful. Let me know your comments in the comment section down below. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe before you go. Turn on notifications, and I'll be back again very soon.